Focus, getting after it. Let's see, are we on? Let's
We
see.
on live on Facebook?
No. Let's find out what's happening here. What's happening in
Hat,
Haps?
hat happening.
Let's see. Here we go. Checking it out. You have it set. Yep, you were live. Here we are. Awesome.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Gates already liked it, so there we go. We are live. It's been a while, guys, since we used Haps. We've been using Facebook or using Zoom to stream through Facebook, but it doesn't, for some reason, Zoom and Facebook's API changed, so we can't stream directly into the Facebook group anymore. So here we are using Haps, which I actually like because I can play producer, I can do all sorts of stuff. Aaron can be one. We can do what do we do here? What do we do? There you go. See, now Aaron's the main host, and I'm just the guest, popping in the upper third there.
So, what's your favorite ice cream, guest?
Dude,
Pretty cool, but yeah, it's tough when we have guests on. Not everybody has Haps, so we just kind of reverted to Zoom. But now that they changed it, it's not really
right.
It's not really playing nice. So we're just shifting. Everybody's shifting, aren't we all just shifting?
Well, everything's shifting. The question is, do we want to go with it or resist it? The only constant is change, and that's the funny thing about it is we think we are stationary in this whole realm, find our identity, find what we're here to work on, and then it all shifts underneath us anyway. And so we either can surrender and go with the flow, be in the flow, from the flow, or we're constantly just getting our butts kicked. And we were talking about movies before we started. Another great movie is Liar Liar, when that innocent guy goes into the bathroom to take a leak and sees Jim Carrey just being the tar out of himself. And he asks just an honest question. What are you doing? And Jim Carrey responds, I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? Oh, that's either being in the flow or resisting the flow.
Well, it's funny because depending on perspective, how many times have you been one or the other? Sometimes I'm that guy just looking and going, what are you doing to yourself? But then, sometimes I'm Jim Carrey and I'm just kicking my own ass. Do you mind? So it's like, why judge any of it? Why pretend that you're always the buttoned up guy going, what's wrong with you? No, you're that guy too. You just don't want to admit it. Sometimes we beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
And if we just allow this, who we are to come out, because the only reason we beat ourselves up is because there's stuff that we had trapped inside that we've never expressed.
Yeah.
Because society says it's silly or it's stupid or it's not professional or it's not blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Just be you.
Right.
And then you don't have to beat yourself up, right?
Yeah.
And if you're present and mindful in the now, in this moment, then the rug can't be swept up under you. Right? It's when we're on this hamster wheel grabbing or trying to catch that dangling carrot constantly, and then you think you got a little nip and then whoop, gets pulled away, but you missed life that whole time that you were reaching and trying to define or trying to figure out. Like, I was thinking about this whole concept of God or source, light, love, infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, right? Because human beings just find this need to define. And you have to make peace. We will never define God in words, in language. I mean, you could get close. I mean, the word love, I think, is synonymous with God, but we don't even know what love is. We don't truly know what love feels like. If we're lucky, we get these little bursts, and we're feeling them more and more as we lean in and we ask for it. But you have to ask yourself, do you truly know what love feels like? We can't, in our limited human mind, in our brain, grasp the concept of love, of God, of any of it. And But why do we need to define it? Why do we need to know so bad? I know we have this innate curiosity, and that's great because it keeps us coming back. But looking for closure on God is so silly,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
It's like, do you guys trust Google, right? Do you have to know the binary coding and hexadecimal and the inner workings of how the program runs? Or do you just trust Google? And you type it in and you trust Google. And guess what? Look where that got you. Because Google will tell you that if you step outside and breathe God's oxygen, you might die.
mm,
So this is what happens when you just blindly trust Google. But yet we can't blindly trust God.
mm.
Why don't we? Right? So it's interesting. That's what's been coming up, and I'm going, that's interesting.
Well, the only time the Bible talks about happiness is, two times the Bible talks about happiness, but both times it only references one way to be happy. And the verse is this: happy is the man whose trust is in the Lord. Happy is the man whose trust is in the Lord. Lord means love supreme. So happy is the man when we place our trust in love. And love never hurts. Love never takes. Love always gives. And it will receive whatever we're willing to give it, but it will never take from us. It never hurts us. It never crosses our will. So we find our happiness in trust and surrender. And that's what we're talking about when we started this live is, are we going to be in resistance or are we going to surrender? We're going to be in, and not happy is the man who trusts in Google. Not happy is the man who just trusts. Happy is the man whose trust is in love as the supreme law of the known and unknown universe. That is a happy person because nothing penetrates that place.
Right. And all we have to do is ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been taught that it's weird to talk to yourself and all this stuff. And prayer has become this religious thing. And so now we call it meditation. But what's the difference? It's just the word has walls built around it now. But the essence, the energy of what that is we are connected to something greater than humanity.
Yeah.
Everything is energy, right? So,
but I don't even know if I was thinking about this. So, when I hear everything is energy, that's like saying light. It's who created the energy, and is the entity, the being that created all energy, benevolent and loving, or agnostic and non-caring to this realm? Because yes, everything is energy. However, everything works in accordance to the law of love. Everything. Even Satan and his fallen angels and the armies of hell and darkness cannot operate outside of the law of love.
well, what they do is invert that truth, right? But it still has to use that truth of love and flip it for confusion purposes. But if love didn't exist, they would have nothing to leverage against, right?
Exactly. And a love allows it. Because
Right.
love will not cross anyone's sovereign will. So when we say everything's energy, yes, but the source of all energy is a benevolent love.
Yes.
And that's where we must come back to and remind ourselves that everything comes from love. It comes from one infinite creator. The books of Ra, the law of one, talks about the one infinite creator. That one infinite creator is love, is infinite and unconditional love.
Right.
We
And
confuse.
again, these are words trying to describe a force, and energy is again, it's a word. Like it cannot encompass
Right.
the essence, the feeling of love, the power of that love.
Right.
Right. So why can't we why do we feel uncomfortable speaking out loud? Because if that love is all around us, that love is within us, we have to, if you want to grow or be happy, like you have to ask yourself, am I afraid to feel what true love is? I've asked myself that because I grew up in Philadelphia, and the way we showed love was to tease or break balls and like, oh, well, if I don't like you, I'll just ignore you. But like if I'm teasing you, that's how I show love. Like what the fuck? What is that? Oh, I love you, bro. No homo. Like what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
are we so afraid of love? Because we've been told that it's mushy and foo-foo and soft and weak and love hurts and all this nonsense. But is that true? Did we ever stop to ask, is any of that true? You hear these songs and like, I need love so bad and you broke my heart. No, you allowed your heart to be broken because you didn't embrace true love in yourself. You attracted someone who was going to break your heart, so you had an excuse to say that my heart was broken and now I'm going to close up.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen if you are full of self-love, if you're full of love for others, if you're full of compassion. Nobody will be attracted to you that could ever possibly hurt you. And that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow because it's like, oh, you have no idea. Well, I do and I don't. Just like everything else. You have no idea why you're listening to the news or putting a mask on your face because a stranger told you to and he put a DR in front of his name. You don't fucking know who that guy is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And look, I'm not claiming to know. All I'm saying is there are things that we are afraid to do because society says it's weird. And if you just sit quietly and ask God or source or spirit, whatever you want to call it, or love, just say, hey, love, if you're listening, I want to feel love. I want to feel love. And keep saying it. And maybe one day you'll get a rush of what love actually feels like. But if you are constantly speaking words of fear and anger and low vibration, that's what you're going to feel. That's it.
We didn't talk or plan this, but I uploaded. Do you see I posted that video today on Instagram?
No.
I uploaded it to Hap, so I think we can play this. I think it would be good that it's no accident that we're trying to. Let me cue this up and see if it works.
Even though we exist prior to trauma, our truest self, our pure essence, we all chose the trauma from that soul level. And your children chose what they chose. Now, this is a hard concept, but I want you to understand why the karmic law is synonymous with love and free will, the law of free will. All of us jumped into our physical bodies through our mother's womb and entered this world. And then what happens? We get introduced to a power structure in the form of parent who molds our behavior to fit their liking and their pleasing. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's not the point. It's the objective understanding that we first came in uttering from our voice that which we wanted. Then we learn to mold and adapt to a power structure that wants our behavior to mold to their liking. And that could be done from an intention of love. It could be done from an intention of fear, intimidation, threat, violence, coercion. But either way, we adapt. Why? Why does love and the soul in coming here in this body and all this expression and then experiencing wounds and trauma to come back to a call like this, to listen to a guy like me talk about this very thing? It's because love. If love doesn't exist, then you coming out of the womb and randomly landing in the power structure that you did It's a, ha, fucking gotcha. Sucks to be you. That's not love. Because love never crosses anyone's sovereign will. Ever. Because by definition, love just gives. That's what it does. So it gives everyone what they choose. So from a universal perspective, before the soul entered the body, the soul got to see what it would enter. Who would parent them? What trauma, what experiences, what lineage, what overcoming you'd have to go through to at one point awaken to this very now moment to be the hero of your own life. Some people choose fear and they get fear. The frequency of fear, they get fear. Let me show you something. This radio is indifferent. This is an indifferent, amoral device. There is no judgment in this device. The frequencies that this device can tap into exist right now, right here, in this now moment, where you guys are and where I am, all across the world. The frequencies that this device, this amoral and different device, can tap into are numerous and vast. But the minute I change this dial, it's going to change frequencies. And it's going to change the different station that this will broadcast. So the law of free will is the hand that moves the dial. Love allows the law of free will and gives this amoral, indifferent device, apart from the intention of law of free will, whatever it tunes into. So if you are in the low frequency of fear, frustration, vibration, running away, escaping, anger, blame, everyone else's fault, it's them, it's not me, they did this to me, then you are going to tune into a frequency. This will broadcast in your life. And guess what? The frequency doesn't matter, doesn't care about this device. The frequency exists. It's this device that tunes into the frequency and broadcasts it out of it. That's why love is important to understand what it is. It's not a feeling. It's a law. It's not a feeling. It's a law. I want you to really get this ingrained in you. Love is not a feeling. Love doesn't hurt you. Love doesn't manipulate or coerce you. Love never took anything from you. Love gives you exactly what you choose. So, all of our souls chose the life that we lived. Now the question is, brothers, will we take responsibility and be intentional on where we turn the dial? You want to be in that frequency of high vibrational love, abundance, exuberance, joy, gratitude, peace, not getting triggered, can talk about anything with anyone, anywhere, at any time, and not get triggered? That's your choice of where you tune that dial. Because it exists right now, wherever you are, that frequency exists. Because it is. And we are. The only difference between that frequency here above us and here coming out of us is our decision to tune into that, to look at it, to go back to our childhood and adjust the dial. In order to come to this now moment for you, my brothers, to understand who you were before trauma, who you've always been, why you chose to experience trauma, so you could come back and reclaim the station that you were meant to broadcast into this life and be your hero. And teach every single person that you ever come in contact with to do the same, to be the same. And no government, no philosophy of institutions, no religious narrative can make that happen. Thank God. Because that would be looking for an external force to come save us. The only way this happens is to intentionally choose to change I hear a lot about revolution over the past couple years. In fact, that's why I started the Golden Rule Revolution podcast, because I saw in 2017 the violent revolution that was ratcheting up. And I thought, if you're going to be a revolutionary, be a revolutionary of love. They'll love the crap out of people. But I never hear about India's revolution. The silent and peaceful revolution that overthrew the British Empire without a single shot being fired. And you know why that narrative is not promoted in our mainstream culture and narrative? It's because it takes accountability and responsibility for every individual to be the change they want to see.
There you go, brother. Here we are. Here we are talking about love. Here we are talking about, it's a law. It's not what we feel when we think is love is joy, is something else. It's immersed in something beautiful, but love's a law.
Right.
It's incredible, brother. We're alive. We are alive right now.
Yeah. And every day, if you're listening to this, that means that you woke up every single day so far and did what? Stressed about what?
Yeah.
Missed out on opportunity. Love is always there. Always. Always. You know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how I love how that started with, at a soul level, you choose where to go in, because the 3D conscious mind would just be like, why would I choose this?
Yeah.
Why would I choose that? But you're limiting. Why wouldn't you choose? Or why did you? If we chose it, why did we? Like maybe there's something bigger. Maybe, endless means endless, which means if we keep coming back for growth and growth and growth, I mean, if you think this life is hard, what do you think it was like 200 years ago when your soul was here? We're growing out of the darkness back into the light. I mean, it's a natural progression, it seems. And I think, who knows? This is what I believe in this moment as we're speaking, but we probably knew our parents before they even went in and had an agreement that we're going to go into this thing. And
I forgot to tell you.
You want to play another video? Did I just tap
No,
into?
no, I forgot to tell you. So on my latest psilocybin ceremony, I was telling you, everyone, I was talking to Aaron about my latest journey, and it was incredibly beautiful. But one of the things that I saw is that we created our parents. We are always thinking time is going one way, but we actually created the parents. We're the creators of all things. So I want you to understand this concept. This is really wild, brother. I created all the trauma because I wanted to experience it to overcome it.
Yes.
So then it doesn't work from them to me. It works from me to them. And all that I tell and all that I experience and all that I see and all that I hold and look at, I created. And when humanity can shift the perspective of they didn't do it to me, I actually did it to them and allowed and absorbed and felt and took. And this is people listening, my story, I've been sexually molested, all the shit in the world. And yet I'm saying, I created that. Isn't that wow? You created your parents. Tyler created you and Ashley, my children. Cameron Colin Clark created Lauren and I. So think of how cool this is. You created them. We created our parents and went through all that. But how beautiful is it that our children chose to create us in their narrative? Whole, awakened, sovereign beings. Now, if that doesn't I got chills. Like if that doesn't wake us up, these high conscious beings created us in their world.
Yeah.
It's all beautiful.
It's amazing. But that's the thing is like we created them and they created us. How does that work?
Yeah.
Stop thinking linear.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking linear and nobody is thinking quantum. And you know, you're not going to wrap your head around quantum.
That's right.
But everything is happening simultaneously. If you can create your own reality, you're creating something now. And this now moment is something we chose.
Yes. Yes.
This now moment is something you chose. However, you could have chosen something else and that it would be different. Could have chosen something else, it would have been different.
Right.
Everything is possible and happening simultaneously. How do you wrap your head around that in a linear 3D world? You can't. So you can call me crazy, whatever. It doesn't matter. But there's a reason why we have curiosity.
Yeah.
And it was never for closure.
No.
Otherwise, we would have had our closure.
Yeah.
As a species, we've asked enough questions.
Mm-hmm.
But it never ends. If it ends, it ends. And the game of life is over. Do you want the game to be over? I don't know. Maybe there is an end to the game, but we don't know. I don't know if we'll ever find out. What happens when we die? I don't know. Do we die? If we die, how we die? It doesn't matter. But you could have spent 2 years of your life not living. Just ask questions. But without you don't need to get closure. And we've been so programmed to think that we need closure. And in schools, we take tests to get the answers and to get the grade. And you go, good job. You got all the answers right. Now you know it. You got 100% on the test. You know 100% of that subject. Really? How's that possible? There's so much more than just that.
Mm-hmm.
Think broader, think wider. And I think we're all expanding. I mean, whether we know it or not, this time, like we are just in this position to be expanding in all different ways. So there's no need for judgment because, and the thing that I started to realize, because in the beginning of this, I was very, how can't you see it? What are you stupid? And I was just judging myself.
Yeah.
I was just mad that it took me so long to just wake up to what I already knew. And it doesn't mean, you know, we can get into Awakened and all the people who are so woke and awakened and they're like, yeah, and they're still talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
The vaccine, like guys, awaken to who you are. That we are awakening. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just awakened. Listen, if somebody is awakened on this planet, you're not seeing them. They're not on the fucking computer. They're not on the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not tweeting, you know.
That's right.
They are one with nature somewhere that we're probably not good. They probably don't have a birth certificate because none of that is all construct.
Yep.
So we are in a process of awakening. So every time you think, oh, I got him. I see it. I've gotten it. Oh, yes. Look what they're doing. I predicted this, blah, 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 blah. You're not awakened. It's a process of awakening. Keep going. Okay, great. I see that. Oh, wow. I see through that thing that I was never able to see before. I see it differently. Wow. That's incredible. What else? Oh, wow. What else? But keep moving. Keep it moving. Keep ascending to what's next and what's next. And we're really just going back. It's not linear. It's a circle.
Mm.
Right? So it's like we're crossing over stuff that we've already experienced to see if we learned the lesson yet or something.
Yeah. Or it's whatever you want
an experience.
Or it's whatever you want it to be. You want it to be linear, it's linear. You want it to be a circle, it's circle. You want it to be you want it to be linear, dimensional, non-binary, whatever. We are the creators of this reality. We have forgotten that. We've forgotten that.
Yeah. And
you're
that's
right.
what we're remembering. That's the awakening.
It's constantly
Just
awakening.
remember.
That's right.
Let's just remember who we are. Because we got so busy and distracted that we forgot. Why is everybody in pain? Why is everybody suffering? You can pretend you're not. Yeah, the richest people in the world are still like, why the hell why am I not happy? Well, because money isn't everything. And you're so busy that you're missing the moment.
It reminds me of Groundhogs Day, the movie, where he's frustrated at first, then he like does horrible things to everyone, and then at the end he remembers, like, he wakes up to loving these people, and that's when he breaks out of the loop, is when he chose to love everyone, to help everyone. And every single day, perhaps life, is a remembering and awakening to today. Will we choose to love the crap out of every single person, including ourselves? And in that, you can't judge and love at the same time. So when we're in judgment, it's like oil and water. They can't coexist together. They are two different structures. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And that's why it's so challenging to find love, which naturally is probably the simplest thing ever because it's natural. It is that law of love. It's everywhere. It's always, but it leaves allowance for you for the free will. And I was thinking that as a place of judgment, even though I made my own choices and I'm glad that I was able to see certain things, certain ways, and I was looking at other people. They would cross the street as if me pushing a stroller with my little dog and my son without a mask is dangerous to their well-being. And I would judge it. I would go, what are you doing? But that judgment comes from within too. And I think that anger in the beginning of all this was just me angry at myself for not living this way sooner. So now I was able to change and grow through certain things, but I'm still stuck in a place of judgment. So I was like, get out of the judgment. And the judgment only comes because of we're judging ourselves. So anytime we judge others, we're limiting ourselves from our own growth. And we judge ourselves because we worry about what other people are going to think. And therefore we don't grow.
Yeah.
So when we can stop judging others, if I started looking at it at a soul level, I know I've been here before many, many times. I think I've lived through things that are familiar now, like plague, famine, all this stuff. That's why I was, predicting stuff. It wasn't. It was this feeling that I've been here before, which is why I'm not worrying about it anymore. But I had to clear that. I had to acknowledge that and clear it. And if I'm an old soul, whatever that means, but that's something that's meaningful to me, right? That's where I'm at right now in my awakening. Is I believe, and I've, this is from 15 years of exploring this whole spiritual side of things and positive side of things, is that I always felt like this old soul, like nothing made sense in this world the way it was. And if I'm looking at somebody who's just like, yeah, just tell me what to do, and I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's a younger soul. And maybe instead of judging that person, I can have compassion and say, that's me. I was there. I went through that. Otherwise, how did I get here? How was I able to see through it? I watched TV. I was producing movies, for God's sakes. I mean, I've seen behind that curtain. I've seen behind a lot of different curtains because of different jobs I've had. So, and I'm so thankful for that. But were any of those jobs an accident? I've had 9,000 jobs in my life to have these experiences. Was any of it an accident, or was it all synchronistic leading up to this time? Because obviously anybody who's alive right now chose this time for a reason. We knew at some deep soul level that 2020 was coming. So we probably begged to come. This is the most fascinating time in human existence, probably. So we want to be here. We want to be here. We want to experience what we're experiencing now. And if that person wants to wear 9 masks and get vaccinated and hide from other human beings, they're choosing that experience. And why would I judge it? There's love is allowing it. Why can't I allow it? And they were hard things for me to acknowledge in myself and admit, but it allowed for freedom. It created freedom. The tension is releasing. There's no more like, oh, how can't you see it? It's like, all right, that's where you are. And I love you because I am you and you are me under different circumstances. I'm just going to take a breath for you and send, I love you. I love you. I love that you're having that experience. You chose that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have the chills a little bit because that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
When you tap into that love, man, like it's powerful. You just want to cry. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Because love can be overwhelming if we're not used to it. So take the little bits that come and embrace it and go, oh, thank you. Thank you, love, for letting me feel whatever it is. If love is not a feeling and it's a law, there are feelings that come along with that love that you can genuinely feel.
Yeah.
If you're just like, oh, I feel this little bit. And here I am. This is me in this moment. Is this weak? I don't think so. I can admit it. I can admit I feel soft. Feels like, weak. This is power to be able to admit that. Am I under threat? Nope. Everything's good. Nobody's busting in my door. In fact, they probably won't because that low vibration isn't on this frequency.
That's right. That's right. That's right. The drowning victim holds on to anything it can while it's drowning, which is why lifeguards don't save someone who's flailing their arms. And this energy that's being flushed from this existence right now is grabbing on to anyone that's willing to be near that and go, and it's going to go with it. And they have to learn that lesson. And that's not bad. That's love allowing every person to learn the lesson.
Right. Because that rookie lifeguard, in their heart, they want to save the person. You jump. Your instinct is to jump in. But the adrenaline that's going on in that ocean is going to pull you down. And now nobody wins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Stay in the lifeguard stand or stand in your light, right? That's such a great reference.
Yeah, dude. It's exciting. Well, everyone, we love you and are glad that we can hop back on with you. And Aaron, I love you, brother. It's fun. It's all good. It's all good, everyone. And remember that you could be 100% right and it still doesn't matter. You could be 100% wrong. It still doesn't matter. It's, are you walking in light? Are you walking in love? Are you walking in freedom? And do people feel that from you? That's really the question that it comes down to. And so it's beautiful. I can't wait to go live tomorrow. Who do we have on tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have Neil Cannon. He has the Vitality podcast. He is natural health and wellness. We met when I was healing my body with my mind. I did a keynote speech. He went before me, and it's almost like he led me in. His was very similar, healing the body with the mind. So he actually just completed a Cambo journey himself, which, as you know, and we haven't talked about it on here, but I've done 3 Cambo ceremonies within a 30-day moon cycle a couple months ago. So we'll get to talk a little bit about that and what that entails. So that'll be fun. But in the meantime, just keep exploring, keep expanding, find compassion. If you find yourself angry at someone else, just take a breath. See if you can find compassion. Even for me, like some things that I said could offend people. If you allow yourself to be offended, this is just where I'm at right now, but I love you anyway. I love you.
Yeah.
I'm finding compassion for anyone that anytime I feel that thing come up, I'm like, what is that and why? That's coming up for a reason. It's coming up to come out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what side you're on. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
That's right. That's right. It's good. It's good. Well, we love you all. We will see you tomorrow on the Awakened Soul. Peace out, brothers and sisters.
Bye.